Good morning, everybody. It's World Mental Health Day, and today I want to talk to you about grief because I think helping people manage through grief is incredibly important to ensure that we help people better manage their mental health, because we all have mental health, just some people have better mental health than others. And when we talk about grief, we often associate that with the loss of a person or some significant trauma. And when that happens to somebody in the workplace, we are usually incredibly generous and we look after those people. We might cook them a meal and take it round to them. We are careful about how we talk to those people. We are respectful. We give them some time to heal. And we are very empathetic. It's easy for us to find some empathy to support those people through a difficult time. What we don't generally do very well in workplaces, though, is deal with the day-to-day grief that comes up. Grief can occur. Grief is about our response to loss, and there are lots and lots of situations in the workplace where we may actually suffer a loss. And that might be that somebody leaves the workplace. We might change the building that we work in. We might even change our computer program and have to go from using an old program to a new program. And you may laugh and think that that's ridiculous. Why would you grieve that? Well, when you've been using a system for a long time, even if it's slow and clunky, but you know it, and so there's some familiarity, I'm not even going to try that, to that software and the way in which you deal with it, then it's much easier for you to go with the old clunky system than to have to go through the frustration and deal with the training that goes with using a new system. And so there's often a sense of grief and loss associated with just changing computer systems. But when those things happen, when we have to deal with people leaving the organisation due to redundancy or a transfer or whatever, there's just sort of, we may have a farewell morning tea or a lunch or whatever, and then that's it, and we don't talk about it anymore. And I think that it's really important that we put grief on the table and we give people an opportunity to verbalise what they're going through so that they can deal with it, so that they can move on. So grief can be enormous and grief can be relatively small, but it still has some impact. And sometimes we do need to slow down to deal with the grief so that we can move forward. I know that there's a lot of organisations at the moment going through enormous change. There are some organisations that are having to deal with redundancies due to budget cuts. I know that the NDIS has had an enormous impact on many services because they've had to restructure the way in which they deliver the services. And there's a grief associated with saying goodbye to the way in which you've done something. In business, there's always this belief that if you can't say that we've always done it this way, because that's holding on. And that's true. We do need to change. We do need to move on. And in this day and age, my Lord, things are moving very fast. But it doesn't mean that we can't stop and say goodbye to the old way of doing things. And we sometimes just do need to stop and to grieve and to say goodbye to the old way in which we do things. I've been involved in theatre for all of my life, and one of the things that I'm acutely aware of is that at the end of every show, on that final curtain call, there will sometimes be tears. Backstage there will definitely be tears. There will be lots of hugging and crying and clapping, and you know, there's a lot of energy that's associated with the end of a show, the end of this one and only time that this group of people are going to be together to do this certain production. And it's a very, very energetic time. There's grief, there's the thrill of being able to having achieved something so profound. There's a mix of emotion. And usually after a show, there's a party and a celebration of what has been achieved. And I can tell you that the next day, everybody is as flat as a tack because it's over. It's all gone. That's it. We don't get to do that ever again. And it just takes a few days, a week, to just get back to normal. So if you're going through change in your organisation, if you're dealing with people leaving, if you're having to change your office environment or the like, give yourself some space to say goodbye to the old, celebrate it, and then you'll be in a better position to go forward. I hope you have a lovely day. It is Mental Health Day. You should check in and make sure that your team's going okay today, and I'll speak to you tomorrow. Bye.